I got up at 7 a.m. to beat the heat. Turns out the heat gets up early too. The plan was simple: walk into Dover, see the White Cliffs, and get back before the day got serious. It's about an hour from the ship through a working port. It's not scenic, but it's not trying to be. It does what it's there to do. There was a taxi sitting right there at the pier. I didn't take it. I didn't really decide not to either. I just started walking. It might be one of my actual toxic traits. I start walking places before I've thought through where that's going to lead me. The path up to the cliff starts less scenic than advertised. A lot of graffiti, a bridge underpass, walk through the working port. Eventually, it turns into an actual path, except it's not flat there either, and you've got to watch your footing the whole way up. And here's what's the strange part. The more carefully I watched my footing, the more rattled I got as to how close the edge actually was. Maybe that's what happens when you take yourself off autopilot. You start noticing the drop. 30 minutes out from the Dover lighthouse, I asked myself a pretty basic question. Why was I actually doing this? Not the answer I'd give a stranger, the real one. I asked myself, and I didn't have one that held up. The sun was brutal. The heat wasn't letting up. I was walking alone along a real drop, and I'd already decided that if I made it to the lighthouse, there was no way I was walking back the same route in that heat, which meant I wasn't doing this on purpose anymore. I was just moving, the same way I started walking from the port this morning without ever actually deciding to. So I turned around. That shouldn't have been a big deal, but it was a little. There's a version of me that's been running the show for 30 years, and that version does not turn around 30 minutes from the thing he came for. The walk to the Dover Lighthouse and back is supposed to take about 2 hours, allegedly. Whether I did the full 2 hours or just 10 minutes of it, I still get to say I walked the cliffs of Dover. Same box checked either way. How much of those 2 hours I was actually willing to suffer through was a completely separate question. I got back to the ship completely spent, hot, sweaty, and done. Once I could function again, water, more water, a shower, and then, gingerly, up to the crow's nest for a cappuccino. And there they were. The irony didn't exactly sneak up on me. I'd wanted this to be one of those moments. The kind you feel like you have to sweat for a little, or it doesn't really count. Instead of earning it the hard way, I got it from a soft leather chair, more comfortable than I had any right to expect, air conditioning doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and a cappuccino in hand. Right out the window, the full sweep of the cliffs was laid out, the blinding white chalk dropping straight into the blue water, the green rolling over the tops of the cliffs, and way out in the distance, that same stubborn little speck of a lighthouse I'd never reached. Stunning, genuinely stunning, and I hadn't had to cook myself on a cliffside to see it. But I keep turning over the same unglamorous question, and I don't have a tidy answer for it yet. At this age, do I really need to make things hard on myself to feel like I've earned them? Sitting there, something started to shift. Not an answer exactly, more like a permission slip I didn't know I'd been waiting on. Permission not to suffer for the sake of it. Permission to actually enjoy the comfort instead of treating it like a consolation prize for a hike I didn't finish. Permission to be the age I actually am, instead of quietly fighting it with a mini death march up a cliff in July. My intention meter worked, for what it's worth. I asked myself why I was doing it, didn't have a good answer, and turned around. But intention turned out only to be half of it. Knowing your real reason and actually giving yourself permission to act on it are two different muscles, and I'm not sure I've got a lot of practice with the second one. The intentions themselves, it turned out, were stacked like nested dolls anyway. Was it to walk the cliffs? To prove I still physically can? To avoid becoming the guy who takes the tour bus everywhere because he's decided he's old now? I generally don't know which one I actually was chasing. Maybe it doesn't matter much, if permission was the piece that I was actually missing. I didn't make it to the lighthouse this time. I got a really good cappuccino instead, which increasingly feels like exactly the trade the current version of me would make. I can live with that. I didn't walk the whole cliffs of Dover. I got a comfortable chair and a cappuccino instead. Turns out that's a trade I'll take.